Alright guys, I'm Dr. Ben Spears with Spears Wellness and Chiropractic. A little bit about myself and my office. We're located at Palomar, which is Harrodsburg Road, Man of War area, for those of you who are 4 weeks in for the area. And a little bit about myself. I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. Went to UK, got my first degree there in biology. There's no chiropractic school in Kentucky. So I then went to St. Louis, Missouri, and got another degree in human biology there, along with my doctorate in chiropractic. I've been practicing chiropractic for 4 years, we'll say. April 2008 is when I graduated, and my office was open in January of 2010, and so we just celebrated a 3-year anniversary of helping Lexingtonians. As far as what chiropractors do, anybody have any familiarity with chiropractic at all? Wonderful, wonderful. Sometimes we get everybody raise their hand, sometimes we get nobody raise their hand, so that's great. We work with the nervous system. And now, what does that mean? Is the number one question I get. So your central nervous system, brief anatomy lesson here. I'm trying to keep you guys awake as long as I can.
So does it have a name?
She asked me that. All right, Charlie, we'll go with
I told you one time into the right group.
Okay, we'll go with Charlie the Spine then. I like it. From now on, he'll have a name. Your brain sits right here generally. Okay? It connects to your spinal cord, which runs all the way down your spine. All these nerves that exit your spine go to every place in your body and control everything. And so I ask the question a lot of times when I do talk, what's the most important system in the body? I've already given you guys the answer, so I won't ask you. I get cardiovascular, I get respiratory, gotta have your heart to live, gotta have your lungs to breathe, those kind of things. But nothing works without your central nervous system. Okay? And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. It's just if someone has an accident here, then they lose everything from this point on. So what we do is we just keep this as healthy as possible. It's the only system in the body that is 100% encased in bone. And so, depending on what you believe, we're meeting here in church. Whoever designed us, or whatever designed us, said we need to take care of it. Okay? We need to protect it as much as we can. So what chiropractors do is we just aid in that. Every morning, let's hope every morning you wake up and you brush your teeth because you don't want your teeth to fall out or to rot and decay. And most of us brush our teeth twice a day. Hardly anyone takes care of their spine. And I think that's a tragedy. When I say hardly anyone, I mean 10% of the population maybe see a chiropractor. And so, with it being your life-giving force and the thing that controls your body, and you think people want to take care of it. And so that's what we educate the community on. Your teeth help you eat, and this helps you live. So beyond that, autism. Where does this come into play? Now, I've seen numerous cases, no case studies, unfortunately, that would say, we took 100 autistic kids and gave them X number of chiropractic adjustments, which we'll talk about what those are, over a certain period of time, and 90% turned out this way, 10% whatever. Unfortunately, there isn't anything. Now, there are cases where, any individual cases, singular, where autistic kids have gotten adjusted, and the results are miracles. Okay? As far as what we have in our office, I don't see a ton of autistic children, to be honest with you. And it's only because of what we just said. 10% of the 10% of the entire population sees a chiropractor. And so the fact that how many of those are autistic is one or the other. Do we see autistic children? Do we see autistic adults? Yes, we do. And do we have good results with that? Absolutely. Beyond that, what I like to say is when most things don't work, chiropractic works. It's just kind of odd. Now, we're known for headaches. We're known for low back pain. We do great things with headaches and low back pain. That's a guarantee. But too many times, we get that extra smile in the day when someone's like, I came to you for headaches and I don't have allergies anymore. That's really cool, isn't it? It's your nervous system. It's not just muscles and bones. And to give you an idea, maybe some examples of what we've seen in our office, some exaggerated things. I have a child who came to me and he's been with me for 3 years. 8 years old maybe when he came, and was having a lot of behavioral issues. Diagnosed also with ADHD. He was suicidal. He had tried to commit suicide 3 times. 8 years old. All we did was adjust him. We didn't do anything other than adjust him. And again, we'll go over what adjustment is. And this kid is like brand new. I mean, to the point where, his pastor came from his church and was like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. That's a really cool thing. Kids who couldn't make it through the previews of a movie, much less watch a movie. And they're sitting through the whole thing and ready for another one, let's say. And so behavioral changes are abundant as far as chiropractic goes. I see it with adults. Adults will come in so grumpy it's not even funny. It may just be that we're making them feel good, and then they turned out not being grumpy anymore. But children respond quicker to chiropractic than adults. Children respond quicker to just about anything faster than adults. We all know that. Some of us would fall and complain about it for a week, and a child would have the same fall and rub dirt on it and move on. And so, as far as chiropractic, it does take less care, for a child than it does an adult. Now, what an adjustment is. Well, let's start with what actually we're looking at when a patient comes into our office. And that term is known as a subluxation. It's not a term that you probably hear really anywhere in healthcare other than with chiropractors. But each one of these vertebrae, you have 20. Most of us have 24 of them. They each have discs in between to give us padding or cushion and space for this nerve to exit. They each have teeny tiny little muscles and teeny tiny little ligaments that connect one to the next. When we have problems, typically with autistic patients, they're right up here around the top of the neck. We'll go over that in just a second. But we have problems, those muscles, and when I say problems, I mean stress, any kind of stress, physical, chemical, and emotional. Those muscles and ligaments tighten up. It's the same way that you and I can have a stressful situation, or it doesn't even have to be a stressful situation. I mean, it could be good stress. Going to an amusement park, maybe you have fun, you ride a roller coaster, and you get off, beat to death. Someone can come up behind you after a tough day of work or whatever, rub your shoulders, and you're saying, that feels like $1 million. It's just stress. It causes those muscles, those ligaments to tighten up. Now, what that does is it prevents the spine from moving the way that it should move. What's the big deal in that? I can still turn around and touch the back of this couch or whatever, even though I have a subluxation, and we all could. Anyone that has a subluxation typically can. Yet, what it does is it irritates this nerve that exits the spine. So wherever the spine is not moving, and we'll focus up here because this is where most of our issues are going to be coming from. Wherever that nerve goes is where you have problems. And it's just because of a subluxation, something that you would never really know you have unless a chiropractor checks you. Okay? With C1, which is the top vertebra in your neck, and C2, they're also known as the atlas and the axis, if you ever hear that. They're the two most important vertebrae in the spine. It's where your spinal cord starts. And so every nerve that you have in your entire body runs through C1 in this vertebra. As the spinal cord goes down the spine, nerves come out, and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner to where we get, about this area we no longer have a spinal cord. It's just a fanning of nerves, things like this. Now, the reason C1 and C2 are so important with kids or even adults that have autism is this is where we see our behavioral changes. So this is where, we almost see everything. There are chiropractors on this planet who only adjust this vertebra and nothing else. When I see kids with autism or just children, whatever, this is the only one I check. It's where we start. it's they may complain of a number of different things, or even people who don't have autism. This is where we start. But you're looking more on the lines of, what's the best way of saying, this is what's going to change everything. I'm not saying like I'm making promises like bring everyone that you know to me and this is going to change everything. But if you're going to make a change with chiropractic, it's going to be right here. That's what I want you to know. That way.
Do you actually manipulate the neck versus using that little clip?
Depends on the person. We'll go over that right now. It's a good question. You know that. I'm stressing this point to the fact of, say you guys decide to choose chiropractic care by the end of this talk and you want to give it a shot, and you're like, that guy's way too short, and there's no way that I would ever go see him. If you go, if you see another chiropractor, and they don't check here, they don't start here, then that's it. Anyway, adjusting. There are multiple ways of adjusting the spine. The way that I prefer and the way that I get the best results is with a technique called diversified. Okay? It's like every kung fu movie you've ever seen in your life. Meaning where we're holding basically the patient's skull in our hands. We see if I can do it just like this. This person laying on their back, skull in their hands.
Yeah.
A little bit of lateral flexion, a little bit of rotation, and you get a popping noise. Okay.
Yeah.
That popping noise is not bone moving against bone. It's not bones breaking, cracking, anything like that. Each one of these vertebrae that's connected to the one above and below, they each have Fassett joints, meaning 2 joints that connect to the one below, 2 joints that connect to the vertebra above. When they don't move for a long time, they build up gas inside. When you pop your knuckles, it doesn't matter, what's popping, we call it cavitations. Same thing in the spine. All you're hearing is gas being expelled from a joint. Okay, so nothing to worry about there. Now, another way that we can adjust is a person would be laying face down. This technique is called Thompson. I'll prefer to get the camera in the right angle here. Basically, the headpiece would lift up. You would take a contact on the vertebra, push straight down. The headpiece would drop with the head. It's just a give, and we can adjust it that way. There's no flexion of the spine. There's no rotation. So a lot of people, again, from seeing all these Chuck Norris movies, Chuck Norris so old. But they're afraid of that, so we can do it that way. A lot of parents don't even like me doing that, and so we have what's known as an activator, which looks like a syringe with a rubber stopper on it, basically. It's very specific, and so we can, we do use it a lot with children. I prefer using my hands because I like feeling what's going on in there. And basically, we would feel the spine anywhere, and once we find a subluxation, meaning this part of the spine is just not moving and it's causing nerve interference, we'll pretend the tip of my finger is that activator. We take it on the spine, it clicks, puts a small specific force into that vertebra and moves it. And that's what we're doing with all adjustments. We're moving the spine. It's not some crazy movement of inches. If you took an x-ray before I adjusted someone, and you took an x-ray after, you may not be able to tell a difference. We're talking millimeters, like teeny tiny little movements. It's the smallest things sometimes that make the biggest changes. Okay? Now, any other questions about any of that?
How would you know whether anything could be adjusted?
Exactly. And so, pull this a little bit closer, hopefully it doesn't. So when a person comes in, and this is how we will assess, how we would assess someone. If it was a child, I'm not taking an x-ray on a child. If you came in and said, I think I've broken something, and it's black and blue, and it looks like a fractured, I'll take a look at that. That's not typically the patients that I see. Okay? First thing that we do, obviously we're going to do a detailed history. And I'm going to ask you questions. see if I can get an idea of our next step from that history. That next step is typically a scan. As far as the scan goes, it's nothing like radiation that would put anything into the patient. We're more along the lines of measuring what's coming out, meaning you have you have three subsystems of your nervous system. You have your sensory nerves, which allow us to touch a table and feel the table. You have your autonomic nervous system, which controls your organs. And you have your motor nervous system, which controls your muscles. Now, to check the sensory nervous system, it's as easy as, can you feel this? Typically people will know. They'll come in and say, I can't feel anything with these two fingers or something like that. They'll know, and that would be the reason they were coming in. So that's typically an easy, can you feel this? With the autonomic nervous system, what we do is we scan every single level, and we're picking up temperatures. It's basically an expensive digital thermometer. Okay? It looks like a little gun. We roll it up the spine, and if a nerve is emitting a higher temperature than it should, it tells me it's under stress. So therefore, wherever that nerve goes, it's also under stress. It has to be. It's an inevitability. Now, with the motor nervous system, we have two little sensors. It's a surface EMG. It picks up electrical impulses in muscles. When I want to fire a muscle, let's say my gigantic bicep here, then I don't even know if you'll see it flex with the shirt on. When I fire this muscle, an electrical impulse is sent from my brain down my spinal cord, out C5, your fifth vertebrae, to the bicep. It says fire. Okay. As long as I hold that signal stays there. I can take these, and we do this with kids and parents all the time so they can understand how it works. I can take these sensors, I can put it right on that muscle, make it fire, and I do it on them. And we see the graph jump off the charts. I say, okay, relax the muscle. It comes down and stays flat. Now, and so we take two of those sensors because we have the left and right side of our body basically, and we start at the bottom. No, we don't. We start at the top, and we work our way down to the bottom, checking each level. And so it's going to tell me specifically where a person stays tight, because I'm going to ask, the child or the adult, stay as relaxed as you can, or sit up and straight is basically all we need them to do. And in about a minute, and the first scan, the temperature, takes about 15 seconds. Okay, so it's super easy. And this one takes about a minute. And we run down both sides of the spine, and it'll give us a printout basically, and of different degrees. It won't just say really tight or completely relaxed. It'll say a little straight, the colors, no stress, mild amount of stress, moderate, severe, and maximum, we'll say. And it's a visual aid. And so we take a look at that, and there are always patterns. There's always patterns. Been doing it for years. I've never seen one that's just stress everywhere, or nowhere, or just one place and here and there. There's always a reason why, there'd be stress one place, say on the upper right side, and then a compensation stress on the lower right side. Our body just trying to figure out a way to compensate for the main problem. What we want to figure out is, what's the main issue? What's that number one subluxation that we're really looking for? That's where I go into palpation. And so that's when a patient would lay on our table. We start by checking their leg lengths. Every single one of you in here has crossed your legs at one time. You're going to have, your pelvis is going to be locked on one side. Maybe you didn't cross your legs. But this will definitely be the case with you anyway. One side of your pelvis is going to be locked up tight. That's a given, unless you've seen a chiropractor for years. But what that does is it causes the leg to appear higher, shorter, however you want to look at it, than the opposite side. The way that works is as our pelvis rotates backwards to let us walk, you can see when it does that, it's bringing this leg up. Okay? And so when it rotates backwards, it stays locked, the leg goes up with it. It's attached. It has to stay there. So when I check a patient face down and I check their leg lengths, I'm looking which leg is shorter than the other. it's going to tell me almost 100% which side of the body I need to start working on. Okay, so let's say for the sake of Charlie here that his right leg is shorter than his left. It could be an anatomical deficiency, meaning he was born with a shorter leg. Okay, but he's plastic, he's pretty even, so we're going to assume that he's just locked on one side of his pelvis. And so we come up and we do the same thing. It's called motion palpation. We're just pushing on the areas to see if there's a give. You know, it'd be just like checking a pillow. You know, when you go, or a mattress. You know, you're going into the store and you're like, I don't think I want to sleep on that all night. You know, you're checking just to see how firm that is. And we get to a point where something just will not move. Meaning it is, you know, for lack of a better word, stuck. Subluxated is what we call it. Okay? Same, and then we move all the way up the spine. We check all 24 with our hands, and we're, you know, until we get to the top, and then obviously we're finished. But beyond that's how we determine. With an adult, we can take an X-ray and we can say, you know, this person has stage whatever of degeneration or arthritis.
Yeah, I've got that, like up here.
Yeah. And most people do.
Or something, arthritis and degeneration.
Did they tell you when it started? You were born. And so
it started when I was born.
What's the most traumatic thing that we ever go through in life?
Oh, that's right.
Being born.
Yeah.
So, you know, to think that the nervous system isn't altered from the first minute, that the first second that you're born, you know, after seeing my child being born, and you know, what it took to finish the job and get him all the way out.
They fractured a rib on the last grandchild.
And so to think that child is born and you know, has no subluxations as a result of what they just went through, stressful enough for the mom. Just imagine, you know, being the child. You know, it's freezing cold. You're in a room full of strangers, and you don't have any clothes on. You know, that would stress us all out. You know, it's the first time it ever happened to them. And so,
you have to clear the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so, again, that's when it all starts. As far as arthritis and degeneration, that's when all of our problems start as day one. Yeah, you've seen kids walking, you know, down the sidewalks, I'm sure, and their backpacks are 2 feet below their waistline and weigh twice as much as they do. If a child's backpack weighs more than 10% of their body weight, they're causing ridiculous spinal problems, meaning degeneration. You know, they're speeding it up. And then their books these days are, you know, twice the size of the books that we had. And so, you know, think about those things. But a little tidbit: your backpack should weigh more than 10% of you, and it should be above your waist, above straps. Yeah, basically like the nerds wear. Typically, do you have a question or something?
What about a pelvic? My mother is 78. She fell, and she's got like problems in her groin. It hurts in her groin area, and they took X-rays and saw something abnormal, but they don't know what.
Yeah.
Would something like that be? I mean,
as far as like chiropractic? Oh, absolutely.
Because I've just been thinking about that just now.
I'm obviously biased, but there's not a person on this planet that should see a chiropractor.
Well, I mean,
okay? Yeah. As far as someone with an issue like that, that's hands down. You know,
and my granddaughter loves the twisting. She goes, you know, saying, "Did you twist my neck?"
I don't know if I like the terminology. It scares me a little bit.
I
know exactly.
But she does. It helps.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you've got, because my son's nonverbal.
Right.
And so you've got a mechanism to get feedback to kind of, if he's not able to tell.
And then to be able to feel the spine is the greatest thing. I mean, it's the easiest thing to diagnose, only because we only have to use our hands. You know, we don't have to talk. You know, I can find subluxations. I know everyone in this room is subluxated C1. No doubt in my mind. Everyone is. And we, just with what we do, sitting at desks or
with this.
being a chiropractor.
Yes.
Text neck. It's what that's being called out the other day from another chiropractor.
So how long long would each adjustment last? Like we brought our children in for a treatment or whatever, then is that something we have to bring in once a week or?
Depends on what we see on the scan. We've started people anywhere from 4 times a week to once a week. Just depends on what we find. As far as, and you guys are going to love this, as far as an actual appointment, what it's going to entail or how much time it's going to take, we are extremely efficient. If there's one thing that I can brag about us, Kelly and I are extremely efficient. Meaning we schedule the way that offices should be scheduled. You're not coming into our office and waiting. I'll typically be standing there saying, right after you.
And that's real important for the autistic kids. It's hard for them to wait.
And you're looking at about 3 to 5 minutes once we get back there.
Do you have a massage person in your office too?
Yeah. And I was talking to her earlier, and not at this time.
I think that's really, we see Dr. Mike, and that's been really helpful too.
Yeah, I hear good things about him too. I haven't met him personally, but I do hear good things about him. That's cool. The next year, that's something that we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, just having 15 minutes, and he just charges like $1 a minute. I mean, $15 to have the massage. I mean, it helps both ways, really, before or after.
Yeah, I love massage.
Can I ask a question? What is my sister gets adjusted, and then she goes in for a 45-minute massage after that, and insurance pays for it all. But I'm wondering, what does that do after you're adjusted? What does the massage do for you, other than relax you incredibly?
It's one reason I don't necessarily have it. Do I want it because a lot of people ask for it? Yeah.
Like what it does for me is if I have it before, it loosens me up to where I'm more open, my body's more open.
You get a massage first and then you get it?
If I have it before, I mean, I'll take it either way, but, but before, it makes my body more open and relaxed to it. And then because I have a tendency to tense up,
right.
And the doctor will say, wiggle your toes, so
right.
just to get your
mind off
attention, But for that reason, and then afterwards, it just kind of helps the adjustment last longer.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Yeah.
Okay. Because I see that some offices have it and some offices don't.
I mean, I walk out of there on air, and it's like, everything is good. For about 5 minutes.
And that was the one point I was going to say is, because there are time between adjustments, meaning we're not open Friday through Sunday, so that would be if I was seeing someone at the beginning of their care, that would be a 3-day period where maybe I wouldn't see that person. Or who knows, maybe a massage would help that last adjustment last longer. Those kind of things. It's nothing that we have ever had hinder any of our results, but not having it, we do have office and massage therapists that I know, love, and trust that I refer patients to, because there's a big difference between a good one and a bad one, just as in anything. But if it was something clinically, like I would get better results or great results twice as fast or whatever if I thought I had a massage therapist, maybe that would be something that would make it more urgent. But space is definitely an issue, I guess, with where we are.
What are you close to Palomar?
We are, do you know where La Petite Academy is? A little daycare there. There's a Chase Bank there in the corner.
Oh, an animal clinic?
Yeah, a vet.
Close to Panera.
And so you're up there?
Yeah, we're right up there.
You close to Panera?
Yeah, close to very across the street. If you're in Panera.
Definitely a lot closer for us. We're on Boston, but.
Any other questions?
What about those inversion tables?
Inversion tables, I get.
Oh, the ones
nickel.
that go.
Yeah, upside down, this kind of thing. Here's the thing. They can be great. They can be horrible as well. What we're talking about is a table that someone would strap themselves into go like this for a certain amount of time, and then go back to this. Okay? Thanks, Charlie. But it's not controlled is the biggest part. Okay? A controlled decompression, which is what they're doing, decompressing the spine, is going to decompress the spine while a person lays flat, and it's kind of like Humpty Dumpty, and then slowly put you back together again. An inversion table, there are people who swear by them, but the only problem that I have with them is you're going from 100% load on your spine, and this isn't the bad thing, to 0% load on your spine. And then this is what I don't like about it. You stay that way for 10 minutes or whatever you stay, I don't know how long it is. But then you go straight back with no recoup time to 100. You go from 0% load on your spine back to 100% load on your spine immediately. That's just, I'm not a big fan of that. And so, hopefully that answers your question, but again, they're patients and doctors both who are like, it's the greatest invention on the face of the earth.
Yeah, because it sends all the blood rush into your brain, it stays there for a while, so you think something's happening.
But,
And some people like to be scared to death.
That's right.
I've been on a table that turns you upside down, and it's not fun. It's scary.
Very scary.
yeah, that's,
My son walks up on his toes, and he also has kind of a rounded spine, and the PT's always really tried that over the years. Would something like these techniques help him?
absolutely.
Really?
I mean,
Found it's kind
What
of
you're looking-
rounded like that.
What he does is he perches. He's up on his toes, and then he has this kind of concave.
And does he have a bump, like Alicia has this bump back here
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like, when
And
she
I had
walks
that too.
around
I
like
mean,
this for
I've got
so
kind
long.
of rounded, so I didn't really think about that. But just watching him, it's so much more pronounced because of the being up on his toes. And he has been that way since he was 2 or 3, and he's 19 now.
My son's like that too.
And it's we
Yeah, I would
tried
like
different
something.
things and just never had any luck. We've tried massage, and he loved it.
Because I can imagine a lot of our kids would be hypersensitive.
Yeah, so it's gonna be my question, because my son's very tactily defensive.
Yeah.
So my first thing, I would love to have him do this, but will he let you touch him? I don't
Yeah.
know. So do you have experience with that, with kids that are tactily defensive?
it's,
I think you have, like what we did, I mean, Alicia is not, she's sensory seeking, so she's kind of the opposite. But she does have behavior issues that nobody here have, I mean, you know, she's off the chart with that. But what I'm saying is, I think what we had to do is we had to take her and in short, like, okay, this is where we're going. You know, you have to do all those visuals to let her know, and then meet you, and, maybe even meet you during a time that, nobody's going to be there. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And you seem like a calm person too, so my son would probably react to that.
Get used to
Yeah.
them.
I do very well with kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is.
I think that's the only thing that stopped us from doing it.
How young's your youngest patient?
My youngest patient.
Yeah, your youngest patient.
I've like I said, I've gone to hospitals and adjusted kids when they were born.
And I've seen kids at the chiropractors, not Mike's, but the other one, we called Chiro one for a while. But she would have kids that were having trouble crawling, and she would like turn the babies up and just, like do some adjustment with them. And then I saw the kids start crawling after that.
It takes about as much pressure as you would put on your eye to adjust it. It's the easiest thing for them. Kelly has a 7-month-old, and we adjust him once a week, maybe more, something like that. And it's just wellness. Most of our children their parents come in due to an issue, like, well, I want my kids to experience this so they don't end up, you know, like I am or whatever. And so, but even some children who are not autistic come in and are super hesitant or reluctant, you know, or
it's scary, or they think you're gonna hurt them, or, you know.
I've done everything from, you know, let's let mommy get on the table and then I fake adjust you, or, you know, hopefully I really get the opportunity, but to you know, if we use that activator, which is that little tool, I let them play with it. You know, it's expensive, but you know, but you can't hurt it. And same thing with the scan. I let them play with the little instruments. I let them use them on me. Yeah, it's just.
But that's the difference, is having, you're open, that, you know, by you being here, you're saying, I really think that this would help your kids. And
there's
you're open to it, and that's the difference. And the kids will know, you know, they'll sense that energy.
Yeah, I'd say a third of our practice is kids. And, which is, you know, other than a pediatric office, meaning they only see kids as far as chiropractors go, which I'm not sure if there is one in Lexington. That's a lot of kids for a chiropractic office, I'll be honest with you. And that's just not being too
Oh, there is one that only sees kids?
There's some chiropractors that only see kids. But they're few and far between, only because parents just don't know that much about chiropractic, number one. And number two, they hear something like, oh, my kid doesn't need that. That's for 80-year-olds or whatever. You know, most of my patients are 50 minus. You know, maybe a handful over that. You know, obviously everybody's welcome, but you know, we are a family practice, meaning I like seeing everybody. You know, I don't ever strong arm anybody into coming in, those kind of things, but we educate extremely well. I'm 100% talking chiropractic the whole time you're in there. You know, after we talk about UK, of course. But it's a fun office. It's not a traditional doctor's office. We have a blast, and it's a joy to go to work. And that's a really cool thing to say, especially as a doctor, because you know, patients can be tough sometimes.
Does your office take the insurance? Does it take different types of insurance?
I get that question a lot too, as far as insurance goes.
What about Medicaid?
Yeah, as far as insurance, we do care plans. And so, well, we did a couple different things. By care plans, meaning I'm out of network with insurance. Okay? Meaning we're not a participating provider of any of them. Does that mean that we don't take insurance? Not at all. A lot of people get that stigma. But I do all your billing for you, meaning as you come in, we bill your insurance company for your adjustments, and then for your, you know, whatever the treatment is, and then your insurance company will reimburse you. It allows me to do, you know, a few different things, you know, offer the patients a few different things that I wouldn't be able to being a participating provider. It doesn't restrict me in any way, meaning I can, you know, obviously have to stay within my scope, but I don't have to ask a company, can I see Charlie one more time? You know, those kind of things. And so it allows me to be upfront and honest when a person comes in, you know, and we say, here's what's going on. Here's exactly what I need to do to fix it. I can go over, and this is another cool thing, I do everything in my office based on year. Okay? And so I'm not looking for, I have no interest in seeing someone for 2 weeks. It makes me a very, I don't want to say very honest, it makes me an expensive Tylenol. I'm very expensive in comparison to Tylenol. It does make me an expensive Tylenol when someone wants to come see me for 2 weeks. And then, oh, well, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. See you later. And then 6 months later, they come back, they have the exact same thing. But it's even worse. And so, the reason that, again, I have a problem with that is I want to fix stuff. I don't have any interest in being a Band-Aid. I like miracles. And you know, that's why we have a very good reputation, hopefully, around Lexington for producing those miracles. But it's because my patients, come to see me, and we're just a good team. It's not I just go whenever I feel like it. Those kind of things. Does it mean that if a person ever wanted to stop coming to see me, that okay, you're stopped work? No. The day a person doesn't want to get adjusted by me is the day that I don't see them anymore. Okay. 1% of the time, maybe that happens. It's super rare, but we look at everything as a whole. Meaning, where are you now? Point A. Where do I feel like I can get you? Point B. And let's work our what's off to get there. I'm really doing all the work. If that makes you feel any better, I'm really doing all the work. But that person showing up when they need to show up, doing what needs to be done at home, which is very little homework. B is that miracle that we typically look for. And then along the way, there are small victories, from, I'm trying to think, who's the last patient I saw today? This lady, she came in, she couldn't walk. She couldn't even drive there. Her friend brought her. And it went from, she couldn't even lay down on the table to one day she was still in excruciating pain. She could lay down on the table. To me, that's like, that's awesome. I make a big deal about it. We celebrate those kind of things. We have a success board. We write it on the board. Charlie can get on the table today. And then and so again, just another one of those fun things that we do. But some people don't see those, and so sometimes it's good for an outsider to be looking in and say, here's where we started. Here's where we are. How cool is it that this person who couldn't do this can now do this, even though it's like the teeniest, tiniest thing. I make a big deal of it because it is to me, but maybe a person wouldn't notice that. Maybe she would never have noticed I could get on the table better than I could yesterday or something like that. But because she could, and because I said something, it makes a really big difference of just affirming, hey, this is really working. This is pretty cool. I don't know how I got on that tangent, but
when you said something about sensory,
autonomic,
and the third one,
motor.
I mean, sensory right off the bat. Most of our kids have sensory issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
And motor skill issues. Motor skill.
And it's all controlled by your nervous system. Every single bit of it.
I have a question for you. Do you have any patients who are young who, after they've had an adjustment, their parents come back and they say their behavior has changed in a good way?
All the time.
Ours has. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, and it's anything from kids who come in with a diagnosis of maybe a behavioral disorder to wow, I can really tell a big difference, to kids that we'll say have nothing, and their parents are saying the same thing about them, and so it's
because my son randomly cries for no reason,
yeah.
or what appears to be no reason, and he appears to be in pain, but I don't know what to do for him because I don't know what's the matter with him.
Right. Like colicky babies, for example. A lot of people's babies have colic, and those babies that get adjusted, it's amazing how reduced colic is, if not being gone, completely. And so, to think that we can cause a huge behavioral change in a whatever 2-month-old to you couldn't do it. Maybe you guys would couldn't change your behaviors now; they're set in stone. But children, absolutely, we see that all the time.
What about sleep? Does it improve sleep? Have you heard?
It's my cue, meaning I get adjusted every 2 weeks, like clockwork. If anything in between there, like I'm not sleeping well, I toss and turn, I get adjusted. That's like my body's cue. Everybody has one. I feel like I need to get adjusted. Who knows what they're feeling, but they know what it is. It's irrelevant to me, but between us coaching sleep and looking at either the mattress or the pillow that the person's sleeping on, to just getting this calmed down, being these nerves. Sleep is there's a lot of sleep stuff on my success board every week. Let's say that. It's a good thing.
So, tell us what you think about the height of the pillow, the number of pillows, or the softness of the pillow. I hear that conversation all the time.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's great. As far as pillows, I'll go ahead and go into mattresses as well. And this isn't a big plug or whatever. You can get this stuff anywhere. But I sell ChiroFlow pillows, and they're my favorite. And they're spelled C-H, so you write them CHIROFLOW. Most chiropractors sell them. They're water-based, meaning you put water in them. It doesn't feel like your head's on a waterbed or anything like that. It feels like a regular pillow. It stays cool through the night, which is a really cool thing, like a cool pillow. My mom loves her. It's hot flashes all the time. She's like, best pillow ever. You know, my mom's crazy. But you can adjust them. And so there's no one pillow that's going to be like perfect for everybody. I wish there was, it'd be great. But what there is there's a pillow that's adjustable. And so that's why we sell it. It's the pillow that I use, my wife uses, my parents use, it's going to tell you. Almost all of our patients use this pillow. The more water you put in it, the firmer it gets. The less water you put in it, the softer it stays. And so as long as when you lay on your mattress, your spine is like this, and that's what you want your pillow to accomplish for you. If there's not enough water, or it's too soft, your head's going to dip. If it's too firm, your head's going to be like this. That's when you wake up and you're like, I can't turn my neck. It's called torticollis. But if your spine's in a line, you sleep fine. So many corny sayings, French, but then that's what's going to give you the best sleep. You're going to sleep on your side, if you can. With kids, it's impossible. I don't typically even talk about that because they're not going to. We're going to need to sleep on my side, like whatever. Just for your guys' info. Sleep on your side, pillow between your knees, and that's going to give you your best sleep because your spine can stay like this.
Not on your back with a pillow underneath your legs.
Back is second best with a pillow.
Okay, I've always been told that by.
But it will. The only thing it will do is this a little bit. Just stretch those muscles a little bit in the back of the spine. This won't do that. This just keeps your spine exactly where it needs to be. And then obviously on your stomach is the absolute worst thing you could possibly do because then your head, so you can breathe, stays cocked to the side the whole night.
Yeah.
And that's there's nothing you can really benefit from sleeping on your stomach. But which is funny because most people sleep on their stomach.
Most?
Yeah.
Really?
You'd be surprised. At least over half my patients come
Can
in sleeping
babies?
on their stomach.
Oh,
No.
Nobody in my house sleeps that way.
On their stomachs?
Nobody in my house
Nobody,
sleeps on
no.
their stomach in my house.
I tried to sleep on my stomach and I thought it was better.
Yeah.
And I did.
My son's the most comfortable when he's on his back with his arms up like this.
Can you look at somebody's back and tell whether they sleep on their? Can you tell what position?
No, definitely can't do that. Spines get repetitive, meaning the adjustment that takes, say 10 minutes on the first appointment takes 5 minutes, on the 15th appointment, because subluxations, because of what we do every single day, they typically come back to the exact same spot. And so I can tell, I can't necessarily look at a spine and say, well, this is how this person sleeps, but what I could do is know their subluxation pattern, ask them how they sleep, and they tell me. Then 3 months later, if the pattern's exactly the same, I can either know, well, the pattern's not from their sleep, or they're still sleeping the way that, and so we can talk, those kind of things. But no, there's, not to my knowledge, is there any way to that'd be really cool though, maybe figure that out, the research study.
I had a massage therapist that swore she could do that.
Yeah.
She pegged me.
Yeah.
And she said I had sway back because I was sleeping on my stomach too much.
Yeah.
And she could just tell by looking at me.
Yeah, possible, but we do so many things as far as I sway back, that can cause compensation and changes in our spine to be able to pinpoint it to one little thing. And it'd be really easy to say, if someone was kind of bent over, well, it's because you sleep like this, but who knows, maybe they're a chiropractor that never gets adjusted and they're like this all day. Or maybe they drive a truck for a living. Maybe they sit at a computer all day. And the monitor's over here, and you're like, okay, we sleep on your stomach. No, I'm just at a computer like this all day. And so there's too many crazy things that we put ourselves into to be able to tell, but that's really cool.
Getting in and out of the car, like when I'm driving a lower car than the SUV, it's like my lower back hurt all the time because I'm getting in and out of it wrong, jumping in, jumping out, and that was causing my lower back to hurt.
I've said many times that cars and planes are not designed for human beings, but that's I get that a lot. And I don't want to take too much time.
Well, I just have one question that's a little off topic, but do you, because someone suggested this to me recently, do you use kinetic tape?
Kinesio tape?
Yeah.
I have, and I've been taught. I use it a lot with athletes.
For injuries.
Yeah, for injuries, that kind of stuff, or repetitive motions that an athlete can take. Like a pitcher pitching 100 pitches a game or something like that. As a support, you'll see it a lot on, I don't know if you know what she's talking about, but you'll see it, like if you watch the Olympics, those kind of things, even swimmers, they'll have this tape, let's say, down their shoulder, and it'll spider off in 3 different ways, 3 different strands or something like that. It's basically a tape that, helps support the musculature and helps support, the different joints in its simplest terms. Because of what I see and the types of, what my practice is, basically, we definitely don't do that a lot, but with chiropractors that would be more athletic based, you would definitely see that quite a bit. And it's great. It's great stuff.
So.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, it's great stuff. Kinesio tape. There's a couple different names for it, but that's going to be like the one that started it is Kinesio tape. And then once patents run out, a bunch of people slap a different name on the same product. Any more questions?
When you started talking about pillows, you said you were also going to talk about
mattresses. Exactly. And so again, not a plug or anything in my office. You can order these in my office, but you don't pay me or anything. And it's only because I feel like this is a great product. And so and the products that are in my office, you find in my house. And so it's, we don't sell too much stuff, but with the mattresses, the pillows were called Chiro Flow. It's not the same company. The mattress is made by Chiro Slumber. Okay. It is a memory foam mattress. Kind of give you the pros about it here. I'm not really sure really what the cons would be, but it tests higher on all tests than Tempur-Pedic. It does not have a bunch of crazy chemicals in it like your other mattresses that make it like flame retardant, fire retardant, those kind of things. It's made in the USA. It's extremely high quality. It's made to order, meaning your mattress isn't sitting in a warehouse for a year before you get it. A lot of problems with the memory foam mattresses, people say they get too hot, and so they've remedied that with a Cool Max cover. I go back to the Olympics again, but all the clothes that Olympians wear are all made of Cool Max, and it's just a layer that keeps the body cool. And so it comes with a cover to put over the mattress and to make sure it stays cool. What else? 100% money back guarantee. And you get that with a lot of mattresses, but what you don't get is your shipping back as well. Meaning, it's one thing to say, okay, well I spent $3,000 on this mattress. It has a guarantee, but I have to pay for shipping. I don't know if you guys have ever shipped a mattress, but it's not like the cheapest thing in the world. And so, Chiro Slumber will refund you your shipping as well. And so, and you can't tell, and contrary properly, you can't tell if a mattress is going to be good for you by going in the store and laying on it. You got to sleep on it at least a week. You know, not straight, of course, but a week's worth of nights to know if it's going to be yay or nay. And that's an at least. I like 2 months as far as with trying anything. And it's half the price. And so you're looking at a queen would be $1,200, something like that. So it's very reasonable as far as a quality mattress. Tests higher than every other mattress out there. And beyond that, if you just, again, I jump around. I can't stand chiropractors just because it has chiro in it. We'll rename it for you, but Sleep Number, those are great. And so I would recommend that as far as my second, only because you can alter it. I mean, if you sleep with somebody else.
I have one. It's awesome.
Yeah. So they're great mattresses. I do recommend, I don't know if you've ever stayed at a hotel that has them, because some hotels have them. Those aren't the ones that you want to get. It's kind of like base, and you kind of get what you pay for with the mattress. You spend a third of your life sleeping, and so get a good one. And you don't have to get like their most expensive one or whatever, but I would at least kind of stay at least in that middle range to get something that's going to be good for your spine. Anything else?
When, this is like with the going into your office and everything, I bring my son in. Can I just wear a t-shirt and keep a t-shirt on the whole time, or do they need to?
I will need to have the shirt off. We have kids' gowns or whatever, and it just depends on which how we do it. If it's a boy, then we didn't worry about it. If they don't care to have their shirt off, then they don't. That's fine. But you're looking at a minute and a half. Let's say 2 minutes. I'll need to be able to have contact with their spine to do those scans. Now, let's say there's like, nope, not happening. Then we don't do the scan. And I use my hands, and they're better than the scan, I'll be honest with you. But I can't visual. I can't give you a visual. I can put your hands on the child and let you feel what I feel, and you will once I talk you through it, to some extent anyway. But to be able to do those scans and actually give you a visual of, this is what that central nervous system looks like, it's kind of irreplaceable. But again, I just people all day long that doing the scan.
So what's the advantage of the scan versus X-ray?
It's nothing's going in like again like a child. Like
Nothing's the radiation.
Yeah, like if you bring how old's your granddaughter?
16.
She'd be borderline, but I probably still wouldn't even X-ray her. If she comes in and she doesn't have any kind of trauma, that kind of thing. Basically you're here because of autism. I'm not really going to find too much on an X-ray that's going to say, oh well, there's autism. You're not going to see that, of course. So there'd be no reason for me to.
But what are they? But they're seeing the subluxation.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, you find subluxation more with your hands. Again, it's a visual. When I take an X-ray, really what I'm looking for is degeneration. How long has this spine not worked? The way that it should anyway. And degeneration is another word for arthritis. We've all got it, myself included. But where are we on that path? Because that gives me an idea of how long has that problem been there. Number one. Number two, how long is it going to take to fix it? It's not the same number, of course, but with that X-ray, that's really what I'm looking for.
Do you work with, like if somebody comes in and they say they have liver problems or something, high liver.
Cirrhosis or something.
Or something, isn't there a certain one that controls that at a certain place?
Kelly's got a sheet I'm going to make sure everybody in here gets, and I should have given it out to the beginning. It's called a merit chart, M-E-R-I-C. Those of you on YouTube, it's a merit chart, M-E-R-I-C chart, which will tell you, it'll diagram the entire spine, the nerves exit, where they go, if there's a subluxation in that area, what it could possibly cause, those kind of things. And really cool thing, you can go to our website, spearswellness.com, and there's a 3D spine there, and you just run your mouse over it and it'll tell you. Ben. And what else? But she's handing that out, so you can take a look at it. But beyond that, it's pretty cut and dry. And most of us are designed. The only thing that would really be different is going to be some of us may have an extra or one less vertebra or something like that. So there's a few different anomalies. Anything else?
Is your dad's name Jim?
No, but I think Joe.
Was it Jim Spears that was in the automobile? Kind of looks like him a little bit.
Got it.
How do you spell Spears?
EARS. Anything else?
So do you have a website?
Yeah, Spears Wellness.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll get everybody business card. SpearsWellness.com. It has everything on there. Facebook page, Twitter, everything. Anything else?
Anybody else have any?
Joe, you want to get the camera there?
Yeah.